Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. No Bell the Bodysnatcher tonight. Apparently a surprise funeral popped up, and the Bodysnatcher had to sit around while other people mourned a body. It was
most deaths are surprising.
But does anybody throw a surprise funeral? There's usually a couple days notice.
No. Well, when someone dies, I don't think the funeral.
Not a birthday.
When someone dies, I don't think that the funeral is like surprise. I think the actual death is the surprise. The surprise is over. Once the surprise, you know what comes next after the surprise. That funeral isn't a surprise. What's the surprise is they're like, yeah, they just cremated him.
I want to put this in my public will. I want to put this in my public will. I should probably tell my wife, when I die, I just want to have a surprise funeral. Like, don't tell anybody.
Just that day, be like, just tell everyone it's like it's a surprise party for you. And then when they all show up, you roll out the coffin.
Oh, that's dark. That is so dark. But so good.
You know what? At first, I wanted to be stuffed, but I think that's actually what I want to do now.
I think if people know us well enough, they would realize that, like, oh yeah, that's his sense of humor,
right? Like, be stuffed and like be in a pose like this with my hand out so I can hold coats.
Yeah, that or just having a surprise funeral where they're like, nobody knows that you died.
I know it's a toss up now.
They just show up.
The third option is just throw me in the trash.
Wow, this is fucking weird. Why the hell is he having a surprise party at a funeral home? It's a bizarre place to have. Must be
he says the death of his youth. No, you just do it at a VFW hall.
Just roll a casket in. Or you better yet just bring the urn. Just bring an urn and cremate it. Like,
yeah, you're already cremated. You just put a trash bag on the table. Oh boy.
Or a coffee can like Big Lebowski.
Yes, that's how I want to go.
Anyway, that's what Bell's doing tonight. Somebody had a surprise funeral.
The guy just walks in with all right, everyone shush, Corey's coming in. Someone just comes in and goes, surprise! They yell surprise before anyone else can, and it's just a coffee can with masking tape that says Corey.
Hopefully we're old men, and like obviously one of us will probably die before the other, unless we're like Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, where they died on the same day.
We're gonna die with our holding hands, Dan.
One of us walks in with the other one's coffee can urn.
Yeah,
I like this. I like this idea.
Wednesday, May 29th. If I die, it is now recorded.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I want to go.
It's going to be a surprise funeral. Anyway, he is always this Corey Walsh.
And he's Dan Griffin. And Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast. And you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
What do we have today, Corey? We have the big topic for tonight's episode is going to certainly be the unbelievable shit show that was the Libertarian Convention over the weekend. It involved Donald Trump. It involved RFK Jr. It involved fights. It involved
rubber chickens.
It involved the realization, if you didn't have it already, that nobody hates a libertarian more than another libertarian. It was just the most libertarian thing you could ever imagine What a glorious event. We were so here for it. We've got Corey's headlines from a horrible, hellish hellscape. And we also have how in the hell does the Biden administration back off of their zero war in Rafah stance as Netanyahu just basically obliterates an entire refugee camp. But I didn't mean to say it like that. I don't want anybody to think I'm an anti-Semite because I brought up how evil the Israeli government is.
You didn't mean to say that they blew up a refugee camp?
I did. Yeah.
They did?
No, they were going after Hamas, Corey. They were going after Hamas.
Yeah. At one point, it was a Jeep with explosives, but I don't think that's the narrative now. Like they hit it. They were saying that they hit a Jeep that had explosives on it next to the tent.
Yeah, we got some other stuff too. But what did you learn this week, Corey?
What did I learn this week? I learned. I don't want to offend our Italian listeners. The word frosiaging. Frosiaging. 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna let Bing.
The Italian word frosiagin is pronounced as /fro.tadi.ne/.
Sure.
It is a vulgar and derogatory term related to faggotry. Please note that it's essential to use such language with sensitivity and respect for others.
Absolutely.
If you have any other language,
Jesus Christ.
So, you know who I learned that word from?
No, hold on. I don't really care who you learned that word from. How did you get an AI program to use the word faggotry? Like, how did that happen?
I'm not sure how that came about, but you know who I learned that word from?
No.
The Pope.
What was the word again?
I'm not gonna say it again. I can't say it. That's why I had AI to say it. I didn't say it. AI did. They're the ones that's homophobic. No, right now I'm looking at an NPR article. So I learned that word, I guess, is what I learned this week because I saw an article.
It's been a slow week for Corey.
Pope Francis apologizes for using slur referring to gay men.
And nobody would have noticed.
Well, Pope Francis has issued an apology for using a derogatory term referring to gay men during closed-door discussion among bishops earlier this month. And he just said there's too much and then said that word.
If I see a black, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
So the Pope just said there's too much faggotry going on.
These idiots.
And so, yeah, and he apologized for it. He's like, that's not what I meant. And it's interesting because he is the Pope that also said that same-sex marriage could be permissible in the Catholic Church. But then behind closed doors, he said this. So this goes to speculation, tinfoil hat time.
Okay.
I don't think he was talking about the gay community. I think he was talking about the bishops and them with them damn altar boys.
No, you don't say. It only took until fucking 2024. It only took until 2024
but I don't think he did.
For a pope to call out priests and bishops and cardinals and all the other deacons and whatever the hell else. I used to be in the Catholic Church, but it's been a while. I forget the hierarchy. But it only took until 2024 for a pope to call out the whatever, I already said it once, the faggotry that is involved in touching little boys in the Catholic Church. Slow down.
Also, during the meeting with Italian bishops at the Vatican last week, there was discussion of whether to admit gay men to Catholic seminaries in preparation for priesthood. That's actually important context because maybe my crazy idea is actually what it is. Italian media reported that multiple people present at the meeting disclosed that Francis opposed the idea and said that there was too much of it going on in seminaries.
Too much is a really relative phrase. Like, how much is enough?
I think
if there's only a couple.
Okay, dude. So that was a bit. I was making a joke that he was actually talking about Catholics and not the gay community, right? I
Sure.
was making that joke. But this article is he said that there's too much already in the seminaries. And that's with nobody being gay there.
Nobody being openly gay, right?
Right. And so I think he's actually talking about like child molestation and stuff.
So then why did he apologize? Oh, because he used the bad
Because
term.
yeah, that was definitely he probably could have used
Pedophilia. Like whatever the Italian
like-
word for pedophilia is probably would have worked well.
that might get you murked. The one pope got shot. That's why they got the
Talking
Pope
about-
mobile.
Talking about John Paul II.
That's why they got the Pope mobile.
I don't think he was shot because he was calling out Catholic priests
Probably
for
not.
diddling boys.
No, I don't think so. But
Why
Yeah.
was he
So
shot? I
I
feel like
learned-
I knew that story.
so I learned the Italian word for a homophobic slur from the Pope this week.
Dude, the bar is so low. So I apologize to our intellectual viewers, of which we have like 6. And this, what I'm about to talk about doesn't matter because apparently it's true that women aren't even allowed to listen to our show. Somehow that's a rule that came about. I'm not really sure where that came
Who
from.
said that?
I don't know. I just feel like women probably aren't allowed to listen to our show. If you listen, I mean, if you
Women do that was
that was my Corey. That was my weekly dig at TradCons. Keep up.
Oh.
Two men. You can't listen to that show. I learned something this week that is going to blow viewer and listener minds. Corey already knows what this is. It's unfortunate because I kind of wish he didn't. I'm going to show you a picture. Corey, you know who this is already, but I'm going to show to the viewers a photograph of a woman without her face. Now, this woman she just turned 50. And just knowing that, when you look at this woman, Corey, it's hard for him because he already knows who it is.
First of all, she's culturally appropriating.
Is she? Oh, because she's wearing blackface in this picture? That's my fault. I accidentally put blackface on her. I should have used a different color. That's 100% my fault. For those just listening, I just washed out this woman's face with black marker, and I probably should have used a different color because this is gonna catch this woman some shit. But you look at this woman's body.
this image is just gonna be on like MSNBC.
And you'll understand why that's funny in about 5 minutes when I tell you who this woman is. You look at this woman's body and you think this woman is 50 years old. Okay, Corey, even though you know who she is, you cannot deny
Tone, fit, tone and fit.
that this is a very attractive 50-year-old woman, is it not?
I mean, yeah.
Can't see her face, but from the neck down, pretty good looking woman.
Yeah.
So let me shall I bring into the screen the face of this woman?
Yeah, go ahead.
She's coming. Oh, she's coming. All right.
Jesus Christ.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
That is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Corey, you forgot to point out that at the top of my JPEG, I labeled them as MTG Baddie No Face.
Yeah.
MTG Baddie.
I can't wait for when you die, Dan. And then when people have to go through all of your paper, like all of your files and stuff on your computers, and like go through all of your shit to get everything in order. And there's just gonna be a file, like a folder with MTG Baddie in it, and then MTG Baddie No Face. Someone's gonna have to dig these up. You understand what I'm saying?
Especially if my wife has to do it. Hopefully she
She's
dies
just gonna be
before
like,
me for that reason.
Just gonna be like, what the fuck?
So what I learned this week is that Marjorie Taylor Greene from the neck down is pretty hot. I said what I said. I'm sorry. I said what I said, especially knowing now she is a swamp creature from the neck up.
God damn.
She is not attractive from the neck up. But she,
And then
I
once
mean,
this woman opens her mouth, Jesus, Murphy.
she is absolute butterface material. There's no world in which she's not.
This is why when you said before that women probably aren't allowed to listen to our show is because you're sitting here objectifying a sitting representative of the United
Okay, all right. So even most feminists that would consider themselves on the left, do you think they're really upset about the fact that we're objectifying Marjorie Taylor Greene? Like, when did you?
No,
ever think there's
you're
gonna be a
allowed
world-
to. Yeah, you're allowed to be nasty and mean to people who don't ideologically agree with you. On either side.
Oh, okay. So
to
I
be
can keep saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene from the neck down is remarkably attractive.
Yeah, you sound like a misogynistic liberal. Perfect.
Sweet. I'm glad that's where I am in this world. That's where I want to be. It's my dream.
That's the circle I want to wade into the waters.
What's funny about this is, do you not recall? I don't think we talked about it on the show, but there was the video a few weeks ago of Marjorie Taylor Greene and AOC going at it on the House floor.
Did they call it? Yeah, she got called a butch.
A butch body something or other. Like, I'm sorry, like that's not.
So wait, was this her response? She shared
no,
this on Twitter?
no. To be fair, you can go look it up on Marjorie Taylor Greene's Twitter feed. She posted this on her 50th birthday, saying that she's, I don't remember what the fuck she said, but obviously she's
50,
proud.
Obviously,
what her body looks like at the age of 50. I'm looking at this and I'm going,
here's me 20 years ago. You didn't even read the subtitle, did you?
No, I didn't. Now I've tried to find out because I wanted to know, like, is there a chance that this image was altered? And I can't find anywhere where it has been seriously
That's
altered.
probably authentic.
Maybe some touch-ups. Maybe some touch-ups. Yeah, I said it on the show. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene from the neck down is a low-key MILF baddie. I said it.
That's what you learned this week.
That's what I learned this week, and I'm not taking it back.
This week, Dan learned beauty is just a light switch away.
Or a paper bag, whichever you prefer.
You got to poke holes in it. Yeah.
No, but what I was also thinking was like, all right,
wait, are you wearing the paper bag or is she?
let's try to build the perfect like baddie congresswoman right now. So let's just say that Marjorie Taylor Greene's body is like the frame or the chassis for you car guys. What are we adding to this, right? I'm going with that's why I wanted Bell here tonight. I'm going with AOC's head and Lauren Boebert's cans. Or no, I'm sorry, Nancy Pelosi's cans.
There you go. It's just the perfect woman. Just boobs in a head.
Now wait a minute. I said congresswomen. It's got to be ladies in Congress. Wait a minute.
Oh, perfect.
Is Sarah Palin still in Congress right now? Is she still in there somewhere in Alaska?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's a bummer. That really could have improved this.
It really could have upped the ante.
Do you have something better? AOC's head, Lauren Boebert's cans / Nancy Pelosi. How about Lauren Boebert's left tit and Nancy Pelosi's right tit on the chassis that is Marjorie Taylor Greene's body? Corey's got nothing to say. I don't even know why I brought this up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's mostly
AOC's
because
hot.
It's mostly because his wife can hear him in the other room.
No, she's at the park with the kid. AOC's hot, but then like Laura Boebert's pretty hot.
And not like you. So you have to go with AOC's head because Lauren Boebert's got that horse face. That's even more so than MTG.
None of them compares to Tulsi.
I've lost him. Yeah, but she's not in Congress right now.
I know, that's right. But she might be Trump's VP, which is fucking bizarre.
What did I learn this week? That MTG from the neck down is a low key MILF baddie. I'm sorry. Why am I apologizing? I'm not sorry. Look at this picture.
Yeah. If anyone should be sorry, it's me. I shy away from just talking about women on the show, I guess.
Well, you're more of a gentleman than I.
Yeah. But listen to how I talk off the air. I'm no better than Dan. I'm not trying to come from some like high road here when I'm like, shut. I don't know. Just like,
I'm really upset that Bell missed that conversation, because when I texted you guys that picture last night for the first time, Bell, being the degenerate that he is, immediately said I would give it a throw or something along those lines. Don't quote that exact. Don't quote that exact. Hold on, let me find it. I'll tell you exactly what he said.
I love how we've spent fucking 5 minutes talking about the perfect female candidate.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, what are her policies?
I got one word wrong. He said I'd give it a go. So that's, I guess, a little bit better. But here's the thing, Corey.
I'll tell you what,
hold on, wait a minute. You say that, like, what about her policies and all that stuff? And I understand your point, because you're absolutely correct. The problem is, like, I'm picturing like some older, like, conservative woman going, "How could you talk about our representatives this way?" And I go, because they fucking talk about each other this way, as mentioned by the argument that AOC and MTG got on the House floor not more than 2 weeks ago, where they're calling each other butch-bodied broads and all this bullshit.
Can't read it because of your lashes.
Yeah, that kind of bullshit. So it's like, if they're allowed to do it, like, if you can't beat them, join them. This just is what it is.
Yeah, we're only saying positive things.
That's the most positive thing I have ever said about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
If she heard you, you probably made her day.
And I will stand by it. I mean, I did call her a butterface, but yeah, maybe she'd take it.
But you're gonna wear a paper bag, you said.
I'm not. She is.
Oh, I thought you were.
I mean, she might.
Holes.
She might find me ugly too. I'm not the most attractive guy in the world, but yeah.
There's just a sheet.
Both were paper bags. Yeah, we're just gonna soak.
Hey, baby, you want to soak?
Oh God, that was not good.
So Jesus, yeah. I mean, somehow, some way, yours was worse and more degenerate than mine.
Yeah, that was probably the least intellectual things learned that we have ever had on the history of this show. Make a note of it. Make a strong note of it.
I even forgot for a second. Like,
watch that be the highest rated first 20 minutes we've ever had in the history of this show, because this country's full of fucking degenerates.
It really is. I'm learning homophobic slurs in different languages.
I mean,
to be fair though, the Pope taught me mine.
Yeah, he also got you to say a gay slur on this show for the first time ever. It was a good day. Good night. Good night.
I'm not talking about me.
Not all of them.
I'm not. Whoops. I'm not a Frosty.
Whatever. Yeah, I'll have to ask my father-in-law how that word's pronounced. I'm sure he knows it well.
Because he calls people, or because he's called it?
I'm just sure he knows that word. Anyway, what do we have? What do we actually have to talk about tonight, Corey?
Oh yeah, let's get into some actual meat here.
The Libertarian National Convention took place over the weekend with what's the guy's name? Something Oliver.
Oh Jesus.
Chase Oliver. I got it in front of me. Chase Oliver winning the Libertarian Convention's nomination for the presidency of the United States. It was looking for a long time like it was going to be Michael Rectenwald. The Mises Caucus was pushing for this, the quote-unquote right-wing faction of the Libertarian Party, although I think that's a bit of a hyperbolic explanation of what the Mises Caucus is. And the jokes that have come out about this. We asked for Ron Paul and we got RuPaul. Because not only is Chase Oliver a gay man, which is not important if you are an actual libertarian, you don't give a shit about somebody's sexual orientation. But he's also pro-transing the kids, and he's very much on the social justice warrior kind of shit-lib side of libertarian politics. He is very good on war. Even I guess what you would call at this point the Mises Caucus head David Smith would admit. David, I just call him David. Dave Smith would admit that he's, in fact, he did on Breaking Points the other day when he talked to Krystal and Saagar that Chase is very good on war, which is huge for libertarianism, but he's bad in ways that the Mises Caucus is not a fan of. One of which is, as they describe him, being quote unquote open borders. I'll get into that in just a second, but also very bad on COVID regime. So the way he was
pretty pro vaccine mandate, wasn't he?
So the way that he's being described by folks on the right that don't understand what libertarianism actually is, but also some of the more hyperbolic characters on the Mises Caucus side of the Libertarian Party are saying that he was pro-mandate. I don't think that's exactly fair to say about Chase Oliver. I wouldn't say that he was pro-mandate, but again, as Dave Smith put it, and this still fucking matters, he definitely bought into the mask and vaccine propaganda in ways that maybe other libertarians didn't. And I don't give him too much shit for that. And I'll let you go in just 1 second, Corey.
He leaned into like the virtue signaling of it.
Yes. And like a lot of people forget that a lot of people were scared at the beginning. And understandably so. I'm sure you probably were.
Yeah, I had a 5-month-old at home.
Most people were pretty scared right at the beginning. But it also shouldn't have taken very long for you to realize what a scam this was. Like if you didn't realize by certainly by January of 2021, if you weren't at least starting to question this by, I would say, the fall of 2020, and then like really off board with the COVID regime by early 2021, I don't have a lot of sympathy for you. Because that's about where I was and where I think most reasonable people were, and even some were better than that. So I don't know. It's tough to really kill Chase Oliver on that. If you're, I don't know. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. That's all I had to say.
I get what you're saying, but yeah, because we were all scared at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a part of like the clingers to it. Like they kind of made it a part of their identity of sorts. The people who like made it clear they were wearing a mask even though it was optional. I got my 3rd booster today. Or like I remember like one of the things that people were bitching about was him talking about how he was making like kind of like doing the virtue signal, right? Like, oh, these holidays there's only going to be 8 people in my house. And we're all going to be socially distanced. It's like, why do you even got to fucking say that on social media?
And that's gross to me, not because of that exact sentiment, but it's gross to me in that what it shows me is that Chase Oliver is the kind of person that will do whatever it takes to kind of gain that political clout, which in a lot of ways, at least in my view,
which in a lot of sway was.
But in a lot of ways, at least in my view, that's kind of anti-libertarian, if that makes sense.
Right, like where are your principles?
Where are your principles? The other big one,
like is he just a populist? Is that what he is? Like,
dude, it's tough to say because
you know what I mean. Because right now, anti-war is like populist, so he might be really good at anti-war right now. But during that time, the populist movement, because Trump did it, Biden did it when he got in. The populist movement was everyone's scared. They're looking to the government for safety. So even him being this libertarian that he says felt that way too.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really have much more to add.
I don't
as
know
far
much
as,
else
like, his
about
take
him
on
except
COVID.
for the shit I saw people talking on him. So I'm coming from a lens because, like I said, like I'm small L libertarian. I have a lot of like libertarian principles. I don't really follow the party too much. I know who Dave Smith is. I know who Spike Cohen is. I remember Dr. Joe Jorgensen, Gary Johnson, Justin Amash, and then of course like Matt Welch, Nick
The Reason
Gillespie,
People.
the Reason People. I read some of their articles. I agree with a lot of the things they say. But I don't really follow the actual party. Like I don't know the girl's name. I know the girl
Angela McArdle.
yeah. Yeah, she's the chair or whatever,
Mhm.
president of the party or whatever. She's still Mrs. Caucus.
She is, and she did retain her seat.
And she did.
Um,
The Mrs. Caucus didn't go away. They still got a lot of power in the actual party.
yeah, so basically the way this happened was,
And the only reason I know all this stuff is because I listen to Dave Smith and because of the whole Trump RFK thing.
yeah, and that kind of backfired a little bit. And in hindsight, it kind of makes sense that it did. But essentially the way this happened was Michael Rechtenwald was kind of the Mises Caucus guy. He was the one that, you okay?
Yeah.
Is Rechtenwald, is that a funny
No,
name to you?
No, I just no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Michael Rechtenwald was the Mises Caucus guy, and the Mises Caucus does own the biggest chunk of the constituency within the delegates within the Libertarian Party. They are the biggest faction, but they don't own 50%. Right? So there's like the Mises Caucus, and then there's sort of the for lack of a better term, I don't think this is fair, but like the woke-ish side of the Libertarian Party.
Well, there's a
And then
spectrum inside of a party, right? Like in
right,
the
and
Libertarian Party, there's more leftist, there's more right. Yeah.
there's people in the middle. So for the first like 5 rounds of voting, Michael Rechtenwald was winning, and then what happened was the middle split, and they went to the other side, and they ended up picking Chase Oliver for this. And Michael Rechtenwald, being a dumbass and fucking getting high on an edible before
That's what I was laughing at when he first mentioned his name. Speech.
Well, and that's just it, right? Like I don't have it. Like I understand that the Libertarian Party is very anti-government, and they're for the most part they're very pro.
Right. There was a motion to tell Trump to go fuck himself. Like it's Dave Smith is trying to bring seriousness to the party.
What's so funny is that he's a comedian.
But yeah,
that's what's ridiculous.
But, okay, so Dan, I'm
guy.
glad that we got to this point because I wanted to I got a take for you. So Dave Smith is at a crossroads now, right? He's trying to bring seriousness to the party. He's trying to bring reform to the party, right? But he still believes in the party. Dave Smith is at a crossroads right now to be the libertarian Kyle Kulinski with Kyle Kulinski and Justice Democrats.
Oh, I don't like that comparison at all.
I know you don't.
Kyle Kulinski on most days makes me want to throw up.
But so so that's the question, right? So when if Dave Smith starts moving goalposts and starts like trying to explain away things and trying to make excuses, if he does, is he the libertarian Kyle Kulinski?
Excuses, like how so? Like what are you referring
No
to?
clue.
What excuses could he be making? Because I look
like
at
how
Dave
Kyle Kulinski makes excuses for AOC.
Okay, so the way he kind of simps for the squad.
Right.
Okay. I don't foresee that happening. Because if there's one thing
I don't
that
either.
I know about,
I'm just saying, but he's at that crossroads now.
He is, but he won't do because here's the difference between Dave Smith and Kyle Kulinski. Dave Smith is a man of principle. Kyle Kulinski is a man of not principle. And I think he made that quite clear. Now, it doesn't mean Kyle couldn't come back around. There was a time where I actually kind of liked Kyle, to be honest with you. And then he did exactly what you just said, where he had a chance at a crossroads with Justice Democrats to really break away from the phoniness of what the squad was and didn't really do it. I don't foresee I don't foresee Dave Smith doing that. And the reason is
Because them saying they're not going to commit their vote for Chase Oliver.
well, that, but also there's another huge dynamic, which is that Dave Smith is still basically at the very tippy top of the Mises Caucus. Like this is a dude that literally should have been the presidential nominee for the Libertarian Party, and he pulled out for his own reasons. I'm not mad at him for it. He's got a family. He didn't want to do it. But he even openly admitted on Twitter following the Libertarian Convention that it was his fault. It was his fault that the Mises Caucus didn't win the nomination. Because and I agree. I don't want to say I agree with him because I'm like, oh, fuck you, Dave. It was your fault. But like, had he stayed in and been the Mises Caucus representative to get the nomination for the Libertarian Party, I think he would have won it, because there is a ton of libertarians that are rallying around Dave Smith right now, and there's a few reasons for that. One is because he's a comedian. He's a funny guy, but he is just so the things that he knows well. God damn it, does he know well? I mean, this is a motherfucker who has read basically every Hans Hermann Hoppe book and every Ludwig von Mises book that you could ever imagine, as an actual Ron Paul style libertarian. And that's what people need to understand about the Mises Caucus. They get kind of pushed aside as the quote unquote right wing version of libertarianism. And it's like, there's some truth to that. Like, are they a little more conservative? Yeah, they are. But like, to just dismiss them as right wing is silly. They're Ron Paulians.
It's the same scare word. It's the same scare word when they try to call them the alt right or the hard right, like thing, and somehow like that. That's the takeover of the Libertarian Party is like the alt right or whatever. You probably heard those members and stuff. That's the same like scary word that Republicans use for socialists and that the Democrats use for like fascist or racist. Like, well, it's just scary buzzwords because people don't understand the nuances and all the intricacies within all of this stuff, that they just cast it aside with one word, one broad blanket. All those words have just become big nets that you can just silo people in without having to explain anything.
Well, and I think the Mises Caucus faction of the Libertarian Party got lumped. So here's why the invitation of Trump to the Libertarian Convention was kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because the Mises Caucus faction of the Libertarian Party was looking at Trump coming to the Libertarian Convention as a good thing, not because Trump is coming to speak. The way they view it is, we have a former president coming to speak at our convention. Yeah. That's never happened in the fucking 50 some odd year history of the Libertarian Party.
All of this little knowledge and these little tidbits that I'm talking about and the things that we're talking about right now, the only reason I can keep up with you talking about it and actually being able to put 2 cents in is because Trump and RFK were at that convention, which led me to watch both of their speeches, which led me to reading all the tweets and the texts and the other videos and going down little rabbit holes and actually now understanding more about what's happening in the Libertarian Party. And even though it's this third rail party, it still has inside of it the same bullshit that all the other parties have going on.
Yes. And that's why there are certain libertarians, small L libertarians, the Catherine Mangue Wards of the world from Reason Magazine, that say they don't affiliate with
rightfully so. And I get it. That's how I am. I'll probably be an independent until the day I die.
Yeah, no doubt. But the Mises Caucus crowd looked at this as a win because, and this is kind of the way I viewed it with Trump coming there and RFK as well. But I looked at it as a politically pluralist move, where it's like, we're gonna have somebody who's not a libertarian come speak, and you can let him know how you feel, and they fucking did, because he was.
I called that. Did I not call that?
You did call that.
I called that, and I actually called RFK's sort of response because I said RFK will placate.
He got some cheers, but he got a lot of boos too.
I said he would placate to the crowd, and that Trump will just get booed.
Well, I don't think, and that's this thing about like Trump being this all-knowing, all-evil being. I don't think he had any fucking clue that he was going to go there and get booed.
Dude,
I think Trump.
Did you watch the speech?
I did. I thought Trump. I think Trump thought he was going to walk on that stage thinking, "Oh, it's really easy to be a libertarian. I can do this." And it's like, no, dude, no,
dude. Usually he'll come out like at his rallies. He'll come out and then I'll add actually before that. Nope. I'll say that and then I'll add the pretext. He came out with his song "Proud to Be American" playing, just like any other rally. And he typically will stand there and wave and cheer and stuff like that and like do his little fist bumps and things like that while the song finishes, and then he goes to the stand. He does that before every rally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The pretext to that is a bunch of the mega hats did show up to that event.
Yes, they did.
That wouldn't normally go to this. And they all tried to crowd the front row.
Yeah, it's brutal.
They tried to crowd the front row, and libertarians weren't going to fucking have that. And so there was scuffles. There was like fights and stuff like that, like on the floor. The libertarians like,
yeah.
No, this is our fucking convention.
And that's the whole, in hindsight, like, I'm not surprised that this was.
I'm not surprised that at all. That happened at all. No. And then he came out and he started speaking, and then he was booed a lot. Like he's like, "Oh yeah, it's interesting. You guys like guns, huh?" And everyone cheered. And then he goes, "Well, I'm glad to say that I got the endorsement from the NRA." Libertarians
exactly.
Libertarians
don't like the NRA.
And he gets booed. And then who called that? Someone called something like that out. I think it was on the Fifth Column. It might have been what's his face? Oh, his name's escaping me. Moynihan. And he goes, what is he gonna do? Come out and go, "Yeah, I got the Federal Reserve to lower the interest rates down to 2%. And he's like,
right?
He's like, no, libertarians don't like they want to end the Fed. Like they would boo that.
And that's just it. Like, I don't think Trump.
Oh, and then there was the whole scramble.
What he was getting into.
Bobby Kennedy's guys were there,
and
they were passing out rubber chickens that said "debate Bobby" on it, and they were handing them to mega supporters, and then the plan was to throw them towards Trump when he was on the stage. And the Secret Service, I guess, had to run around and confiscate everyone's rubber chickens. Which, even though they didn't get to do what they wanted to with them, it still got the message across because the media outlets reported that
these idiots.
No, but he just wants to debate. So now Trump, like, it's like a rap battle. It's like a rap beef, right? We just saw the whole Drake Kendrick Lamar thing play out.
Bro.
And
what
now
have we been saying for
Trump
years
has
now?
to respond to that.
Politics is just WWE. It really is. It's WWE / it's like if you mixed in a shoot with a work every once in a while. If you're not familiar with wrestling terms, a work is a fake fight, a shoot is a real fight, and it's like there's a little bit of each one involved.
I'm sorry
in politics. I didn't hear it. Maybe the people did. It doesn't really matter. But like, yeah, this was an unbelievable shit show, and I was absolutely here for it. And I guess the only other thing that I would say about Chase Oliver, I'm not going to have like this reactionary reaction of saying that I'm definitely not going to support him. I'm going to see where this campaign goes. I think right off rip, I don't like him. I think if the election was tomorrow, he probably wouldn't get my vote. Because he just seems like an ardent politician who will do the thing that he needs to do to gain political power. And he's just kind of like such a loser at this point that he's doing it within the Libertarian Party instead of trying to build inside of one of the other parties. But what I will say is that this is the last thing, and it's one of the things that I disagree with Dave and the Mises Caucus about, because you get these sort of reactionary words and phrases and descriptors for these people. They go Chase Oliver's for open borders, and we all know what open borders means. When somebody hears open borders, you get a reaction when you say this person's for open borders, right? You get the conservatives going, oh God, gross, gross, and you get the liberals going, is that really what they mean, or do they just really or are they just for having better immigration? And it's like, first of all, there is an actual libertarian argument for open borders. I think even somebody like Dave Smith would agree with that statement. He would disagree about open borders because he's not an open borders guy, but he would admit that there is a legitimate libertarian argument for open borders. That is why it's a very contentious issue, even inside of the Libertarian Party, when you start talking about property rights, and you start talking about the non-aggression principle and things like that. Very, very good argument to be made for open borders. So I really am interested to see what Chase Oliver's policy will be going into this election, what he really feels about the borders.
Right.
It's
easy to say open borders to get the headlines, but when it comes to actual policy. So I don't know shit about Chase Oliver, really, other than like him, I guess, pandering on social media in previous
he got Raphael
years.
Warnock elected in Georgia. Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Remember, he was the guy that forced the runoff.
In that Georgia Senate race. That's right. But I can't really dog someone too much for pandering on social media because like, even though I didn't post mask shit and all that stuff, I remember arguing with people about COVID for a time, like saying like, oh, this seems like it's pretty serious. Like I shut up pretty quick when things started to pivot, but it looks like he went on longer for it. But I can't. Everyone has a social media tale, like a history behind them that at this point is hours. Like to go through any single person's, it would take hours and hours and hours, and it only takes someone of interest for people to actually find this shit. That there might be a time where you or I get something off social media getting thrown at us if we get big enough that we don't even remember doing. So I can't knock him for that. I'm gonna have to look up his policies. We'll see where I stand when I figure that shit out. But as of for right now, I still think it might be I don't know. Anyone that, like, yeah, none of the above. And fucking Bobby, man, with his fucking pro-Israel stance.
Dude, if he was just better on Israel, he'd have a chance.
God damn, that sucks. That's a bummer. That one's a real bummer.
Don't be an anti-Semite, okay?
I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm just saying, like,
you are. You are saying something bad about the state of Israel, Corey. You are an anti-Semite.
Oh wait, no. You're right. Yeah, the new new
definition.
The new definition.
Well, not to mention
includes targeting the state of Israel.
The bar being moved. You can't talk shit about a fucking horrible government.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
you're an anti-Semite. You heard it here live, folks. You heard it here live, folks.
It's like my views didn't change. The definition did.
You're not wrong.
The law did.
Ukraine will become a member of NATO.
Oh, well, I guess we could, speaking of Bobby K, we could talk about his speech. Did you watch his speech?
I didn't watch as much of it as I did of Trump's, but I do recall him being very good on the COVID regime. He was really good on two other things. Help me out, Corey. The Federal Reserve, I think, was one of them. Oh, he's pro Bitcoin, very pro Bitcoin.
Yeah, he's pro Bitcoin. He talked about like censorship. He talked about
that was it.
The surveillance state, freeing Assange, Edward Snowden. He like what he did, yeah, because so in his speech, his speech, he literally just talked about all the different amendments and then brought relevancy to them through like current events and why what's happening sucks and why this amendment was supposed to stop it. And he talked about how like the founding fathers built like a constitution to restrict the government and all that. Yeah, like I was saying, like listen to his speech. He fucking like knew his audience. He knew what he was doing.
He nailed it, man.
But
nailed it.
Yeah, Trump just got booze.
He didn't have any idea what he was getting into. Trump had no clue.
No, but hey, guess who didn't show up?
Biden.
And if you ask him why he didn't show up, he'll tell you that it was because of
why.
You freeze?
67 Corvette.
So if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
No. They're with, right? All right, what do we got next?
He almost stumbled off the stage at West Point.
He almost stumbled. He stumbles upstairs. He stumbles all over the place. I just looked up, actually, a quick update. RFK just filed a complaint that CNN's debate colluded with Biden and Trump to keep him off the stage. So it sounds like it's not going so well for him getting on the debate stage.
Of course.
Right. So he filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission.
That's not
over his exclusion from the first presidential debate. Kennedy alleges in a letter to the FEC that the campaigns for President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump illegally colluded with host CNN to keep him off stage of the June 27th debate in Atlanta.
By the way, has there been a verdict rendered as we sit here on May 29th, Wednesday at 8:15 on the Trump trial? We haven't talked about it on the show because I don't care, and I don't think you do either, but the jury was out as of this afternoon. I don't know if there's been a...
Yeah, they ended their first day of deliberations.
Okay, so they're done for today.
After asking to rehear testimony.
Okay, so we got a little bit of ways to go here.
Yeah, this one's gonna go for a while, huh?
He might get convicted, but it's not gonna matter. Not gonna make a lick of difference. We got Nikki Haley signing rockets in Israel, making a request that rocket quote unquote finishes them. And if you're wondering why that warmongering cunt, yes, I said cunt, was not a good. I said cunt, by the way. Was not a good pick for the next president of the United States. Yeah, she's a horrible human being. She's not. Yeah,
she should. What did they say? I think it was on Breaking Points. Ryan Grimm and what's the other girl's name? I forget her name.
I forget too, off the top of my head. Maybe one of us can let us know.
But yeah, she was like, yeah, it should have been one of the Boeing bombs. Because that's the board that she was on, and that was one of the bombs that like killed the people over there in Palestine.
And then how is the Biden administration going to backtrack? Because their hard line was no going into Rafah, and an entire refugee camp was absolutely obliterated in Rafah. Netanyahu came out and said it was a tragic mistake because you just mistakenly blow up a refugee camp. I'm not sure really how the hell you do that. By mistake.
A refugee camp that you knew was there because that's where you told everyone to go.
Right, exactly. But yeah, but we're anti-Semites for calling this out, and then all you get is the deflection of I saw this today on Twitter. Bunch of little girls got killed in Niger today.
I love that little callback. Just made you sound so jaded.
I'm just pissed because because that's what you get. You get this deflection of like I saw on a Twitter today, somebody going, a bunch of little girls were killed in Niger today, but nobody cares because they're Christians. It's like, okay, first of all, it's not that nobody cares. But when you want to sit here
other
and
shit going on.
Yeah, if you want to sit here and try to pretend like the fucking whatever it is, the third or fourth largest army in the world, indiscriminately blowing up civilians for 6 fucking months, whether you think it's justified or not, maybe, if you're pro-Israel, you do. If you're not pro-Israel, you don't. But either way, it's basically the biggest story on the globe right now. Name one that's bigger. Corey's struggling. The fact that the Florida Panthers just tied up the Eastern Conference Finals 2-2. Okay, let's talk about that because they should have swept the series.
Are you talking about the Detroit Panthers from the USFL?
No, that's the Michigan Panthers, by the way. I'm talking about the Florida Panthers, the hockey team that I have money on to win the Stanley Cup, and they should have won this series already because they've been the better hockey team, but they lost 2 games. Anyway, go ahead.
Were they at home or away?
They were at home for 2 and away for 2.
They lost the 2 away?
Nope. They won 1 on the road. And won 1 at home. And lost 1 at home. And won 1 at home. I've rendered Corey speechless because of my gambling habits.
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. It's not over. It's just...
All my gambling money is tied up in cricket. Oh, the fucking game is played.
Great sport to bet on.
Is it?
No, I have no clue. I have no idea how the game's played either.
Yeah, I know. I made that up. I don't bet on cricket. Can you bet on disc golf? Probably.
I doubt it. It's not that mainstream yet.
We're getting there, Dan.
You really want it to be like? Can we just leave it?
I want it to be big enough to all of a sudden they're like, hey, we need to hire some marketers.
Here's the problem. I enjoy playing the game too, but here's what happens when the game gets big. Here's what happens.
Of course,
it becomes much more expensive to play.
Okay.
Courses open up, they become private, they start charging. It's free right now. Like, it's just good where it is. Let's just leave the game where it is.
I still want to be looked at like a joke when I tell you ball golfers that I disc golf. Okay.
I play both games.
Yeah, I really thought you were about to say both ways.
I play both. I play both games. I'm not gonna lie. Ball golf is a harder game to play, but disc golf's not an easy game by any means.
It's fun. So we're talking about Israel and Palestine.
Are we?
You were talking about it.
Oh, the prolapse.
Yeah, the Palestinian peer prolapse. So, if you guys remember last week, I talked about in my headlines from a hellish landscape that America's 320 or 350, one of the two numbers, $1 million like public relations move of putting a pier in the river or in the ocean off of Israel to the sea. What sea is it? The Red Sea?
It's the Mediterranean.
The Mediterranean. I think we've been there before.
I
think we've been here before. Me.
Geography is not Corey's strong suit. If you
sometimes I'm pretty damn good. Sometimes I'm way off. But so they're putting this pier in the Mediterranean Sea for to bring aid to Israel because Israel is already being assholes about getting aid into the country because it's landlocked short of
easy on the language you use. We don't want to be viewed as anti-Semites.
I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about Israel.
Same thing, Corey.
The law hasn't passed yet, Dan.
Just ask Jerry Seinfeld or Barry Weiss. Same thing.
It sucks because I like both of them, and they don't like me because they think I'm anti-Semitic.
God damn, Barry looks good after taking all that Ozempic.
Jesus, that's a fucking Seinfeld bit in itself, right? Like, I'm not anti-Semitic. I just don't like what the Israel is doing.
Oh God, yeah, that would be George for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's literally a fucking Seinfeld bit that we're seeing.
She called me an anti-Semite. I'm not an anti-Semite. I just don't like what Israel's doing.
Yeah, like I'm Jewish. But so we decided to build this pier. Dude, it's like thinking about it's just fucking messed up, right? Israel's the country. They have borders. There's countries all about them.
We ain't found shit.
Aid can be brought in, but they won't allow it. So then we're just going to build a pier on the sovereign country's beach and be like, all right, fine, we're going to move in shit this way. And they go, well, we can't guarantee your safety. And then as soon as the stuff is actually going into Gaza, after it being up for tossed $320 million, 2 days in, they shut it down because the people in the Gaza Strip are so fucking famished that the food shows up, so they bum rush the trucks. They're like, whoa, this is insane. So they stopped moving all this shit in. I think Saturday they started moving shit in again. We're spending all this goddamn money to move shit there by boat because someone that's supposedly our ally isn't letting us move this stuff in by land.
Or if we do, they accidentally, quote unquote, blow up the aid trucks.
Right. And then so we build this pier because we feel bad for giving them the bombs that are killing all the people that we want to give this food to. And so we have this fucking
Corey, it really is a Seinfeld episode.
Right, like, and then like the Mediterranean Sea apparently is very choppy. It's a very rough sea. The pier, 2 weeks after being completed, fucking floats away. And they have to go.
If I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Not sure where that relates, but
of the ship.
Oh, well, it wasn't a ship; it was a fucking dock.
It
had no captain.
And listen, it's Charlie Kirk. He doesn't get it right all the time, or ever.
The pier had no captain. It was supposed to be stationary. And then, like, well, I guess we're gonna fix it. And I just think about just how fucking stupid all this is, right? Just how fucking dumb it all is. Israel's supposed to be our ally. We don't like what you're doing. If you want to keep being our ally, like if me and you are friends and you keep beating your wife and I'm like, don't do that, and you keep beating her, I'm probably not going to be friends with you anymore.
That's why I don't beat my wife anymore.
Because you want to be friends with me. Exactly. You know, like there's a mutual, like when an ally, if two people are allies, it's like it's supposed to be a mutual beneficial thing. Like, you know, like, hey, homie, what you're doing sucks. You're supposed to listen to your friends unless you have no respect for them.
Well, but
then they don't become your friends anymore. But instead, we're still just, well, you know, it's reasonable to assure that there might be some genocide going on.
Well, you want me to tell you the difference between like the reasonable thing that you just described and what's actually happening? It's more like say I'm Netanyahu.
Oh, but hold on. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Say I'm Netanyahu. Just real quick. Say I'm Netanyahu, and I'm Netanyahu, and
then you talk shit to all your friends how you bamboozled me.
I'm Netanyahu, and I'm beating my wife, and you say you're not going to be friends with me, but you're Joe Biden, and I go, okay, Joe, I won't beat my wife anymore.
And then I'm like, yeah, he said he's not going to hit his wife anymore. That black eye she has, it had to have been a doorknob. I don't know.
And then you forget where the hell you are or what war is being fought in the first place.
Like, if he had any balls, he's the goddamn president of the United States.
He has balls. He just his brain.
You fucking tell him, look, your whole existence, because you keep being an asshole, is based on the bombs that I'm fucking giving you.
You just sounded like Adam Sandler and Billy Madison, where he's answering the question about the puppy and you get out there and you find that fucking dog.
Yeah, it's that easy. Like, it's just it's so fucking stupid. So now we spent $320 million on a pier that's just
these idiots.
You know why there's a reason, Dan, that in D-Day, we knew this shit. We knew what rough seas were all the way back in World War II.
This is why Corey was late to our show meeting tonight, because he was too busy reading up on D-Day.
In World War II, we didn't build any fucking piers. In the high seas, we came up, dumped all the boys out, had them fight. And then after they took over the beaches, where Omaha was like the most intense one, all the other ones, they actually blind luck helped them out, like have a kind of an easy go. But all the blind luck ran out for the Omaha storming. That's where most of the casualties were, because they also had that bluff to climb and all, just a bunch of wild shit. But these boys didn't go, all right, boys, we're going to build a pier. They had to keep moving halfway across the goddamn country into, I think it was Cyan or something, to build like their base of operations where they can get their shit in, so they can get the 850 other thousand soldiers over there to fight. They didn't try to build a pier on the beach over there. You know why? Because the goddamn seas were rough.
Okay, you done, Grandpa?
I'm just saying, how did they, like, this seemed like it was just planned to fail intentionally, because we have the biggest navy in the goddamn world. We know that what rough seas can do to piers. We live on lakes, Dan. We know what the high waves here decimate docks and shit like that. You don't think the ocean's worse?
I do, but you brought up World War II, and that's kind of a trope that all the pro-war people bring up all the time. So you kind of lost me for a second. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, but no,
like everybody that's evil is compared to Hitler as if it's like
I'm not comparing anyone to anybody. I'm saying military logistics, because it's the same goddamn military that knew then, well, we probably shouldn't set up shop here.
Fair enough, but you lost.
But then they did it. They did it.
I love World War II.
And you know what?
I love World War II. That's not what I meant.
It depends on which side.
I love learning about World War II.
The Baltimore Bridge just got taken out because of a ship's fucking...
The Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore.
All of the time and effort that the Army, or it might even have been the Navy Corps of Engineers, or the Army Corps of Engineers, all this time and effort to sit there and put in this stupid fucking pier, and $320 million could have been spent at home to build that bridge, to help transit and the exchange of goods, to lower wages in American households, to where me and you, we might feel like a tenth of a penny on a dollar, but the people in that area really need that help. When you go to the Sulaks up in the UP and you look at those fucking cool ass little channels where they have that they raise and lower the water to bring ships through, there's a big placard that says, built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We got guys that could be building that shit here, but instead they're building fucking piers for a problem that we're helping create, just to have it washed down the fucking slipstream. It wasn't even a river. It was an ocean. And it pisses me off.
You're really mad about this pier.
It's fucking stupid, dude.
I'm with you. It's really fucking stupid.
Boy, I hope he's qualified.
Yeah, who? Biden? Like, and then you think about it, it's like, did the enthusiasm that, like, you know, like, enthusiasm goes a long way when you're doing a project. And if all of these soldiers had no enthusiasm in this problem, in this pier, because they all knew it was bullshit, can you blame them for not building the best pier in the world?
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just fucking stupid. $320 million. Flint still has dirty fucking water.
In some areas. Redditor Scott disagrees.
Whatever. There's local articles popping up on the week about how this area doesn't have, like, still has lead pipes that haven't been dug up yet. And I understand it's not a process that would be overnight, but I tell you what, you send in the Army Corps of Engineers, the guys who are used to digging trenches and shit, they probably get that shit done a hell of a lot faster. But instead, we're building piers that don't last 2 weeks for $320 million. Whoa, what happened to your mic, Dan?
I think I accidentally hit the mute button. I said, Corey, we have to help our ally.
We help them by you know what I mean? Like when you have a friend who's a heroin addict, you take their needles away. You don't keep giving them more needles.
No, you give them a safe place to inject.
Yeah. Apparently that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, we're just giving
at its finest.
We're just giving Israel a safe place to inject right now by building them a pier and trying to keep their enemies alive as long as possible.
And then when Johnny Law comes in and tries to tell ICC tells him to stop, we're like, oh no, we'll fucking sanction your ass.
Corey, you got some headlines for us?
Yeah, I got some headlines for you, brother.
I'm surprised you found the time.
I know, I didn't have Monday to work on shit.
It's time for headlines from a hellish, horrible hellscape. May God spare our children's souls.
The end is nigh.
South Korea finds himself in a real shitty situation as North Korea sends balloons carrying excrement to South Korea as a gift. This is a response due to South Korea sending balloons to North Korea, including propaganda about what the free world is, little USBs with music on it from K-pop, because that's apparently what everyone over there loves, and different things like that. North Korea is calling these gifts of sincerity.
And we can be sure that the balloons carrying the fecal matter do not belong to Kim Jong-un because the great leader doesn't shit.
Nope, that is none of Kim Jong-un's shit himself. He does not poop.
And he also shot 18 hole-in-ones during a golf outing.
In Otay Mesa, a battery facility. Otay Mesa is in California. A battery facility fire could take weeks to put out entirely. There was a fire in this battery facility warehouse, and it's lithium-ion, and sometimes these batteries do a thing where they go on a runaway, where they start to overheat, and eventually they catch fire. The problem with this is there's other batteries in the facility, and water completes a circuit and creates an arc. So when they try to use water to put the damaged batteries out, it allows other batteries that are not damaged to arc and then create a fire. So right now, all they're trying to do is contain it. So the warehouses next door that are also battery facility warehouses don't also catch fire.
What were you saying about the Army Corps of Engineers? My next door neighbor's a firefighter. Let me ask him how to do this.
Yeah, you should actually. You should ask him like how do they put a battery
fire. I think I remember him telling me. I'm not gonna
use like a foam.
Yeah, there's like a foam, and he said in some situations you just gotta let that motherfucker burn. You just gotta let it burn. You got any more?
Oh, yeah. Louisiana just passed an abortion pill law. Louisiana has become the first U.S. state to criminalize possession of abortion medication under certain circumstances after Governor Jeff Landry Friday signed a bill into law reclassifying abortion as a controlled substance.
It's just bullshit.
Under the law, milfepristone and misoprostol, a two-drug regimen used in the majority of U.S. abortions, will be added to Schedule 4 drugs in Louisiana's list of restricted substances. That category is defined as having the potential for abuse and dependency and includes Ambien, Valium, and dependency. These girls are just dependent on abortions.
They're just going out and getting fucking railed on a nightly
because they want their mifepristone fix.
Corey, sometimes they'll go through 3-4 pregnancies a week.
Yeah, just to get that fix from the mifepristone.
That mifepristone fix. That is I want you to know, of all of the headlines that you've done since we've started doing this segment, that might be the dumbest one. Yeah. And you've had some dumb ones, but that might be.
I always try to find like offbeat ones. They're fun, right?
Oh my God, is that stupid?
Anyone who is not pregnant or a licensed medical provider could face up to 5 years in prison and thousands of dollars in fines if found carrying either of the abortion medications without a prescription. The Food and Drug Administration does not consider abortion pills addictive. Just so you know.
I'm floored.
If I see a black, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
The Biden administration approved the cancellation. The Biden administration approved the cancellation of $7.7 billion in student debt yesterday for an estimated 160,500 eligible borrowers. The move is part of the White House's incremental approach to canceling federal student loans via program adjustments as it builds out a broader debt plan. Yesterday's approval brings the administration's total debt relief to $167 billion for nearly 5 million borrowers.
You understand I'm never going to support this, right?
I know.
I'm never going to support this.
That's fine.
I didn't take out any student loan debt.
The latest round of relief applies to people enrolled in specific federal loan programs that reduce or cancel debt in exchange for public services like teaching or by consideration of an individual's income, known as income-driven repayment plans. So the part that perked me up is this whole thing of public services. I will 100% go and help clean a park or go feed some homeless people if it's going to help lower my student debt.
Okay, that's fine, I guess, if you're paying it back, if you're paying it back in a public way. But the way I look at student debt relief is you made a bad investment because you decided to take out $100,000 to get a stupid degree. I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for that.
But I also see the side as being one of those kids that gets bamboozled at like 17, 18 years old with a promise of this is an investment and you'll make this money back.
No, I understand that's fair, but here's the problem. Even as a 17-year-old kid, you're not stupid enough, or at least you shouldn't be stupid enough to realize that your fucking major when you take that money matters. If you want to take that money to do something, to become an engineer, or do you want to take that money to become a doctor, or you want to take that money to do a profession that will make you money and you know it will make you money, that's totally different than taking $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 in student loan debt to get a graduate degree in fucking gender studies. These two things are not equal. And I already know that the people that took that money to get these better professions, they don't need student debt relief. It's only the ones that made shitty decisions and made shitty investments. Jesus Christ, I sound like fucking Rush Limbaugh right now. But it's true. Like there's no world where that's not true.
Yeah, no, like I think that the system itself, because like even if you forgive the debt, it's just going to come right back.
I have to pay for it.
Well, I'm saying if we forgave that debt of those students, like everyone right now, let's say that right now, the debt of all those people is forgiven. Okay.
Well, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
High school ends right around this time. This fall, you'd have another 2 million people bringing that debt back on.
Starting to, at least.
Starting to. The root cause of the problem needs to be fixed. Like, that system is fucked.
It's totally fucked. I don't disagree with that at all. This is...
And that, like, you can't go and forgive it without fixing that problem. That's where I'm at. Like if they came down, they're like, listen, this shit just isn't happening anymore. This is a fuck up with the country. Jubilee, wash away our debts, and we're not going to allow this to happen anymore. I'd be more okay with that than them forgiving debts and then not fixing the root cause, and then that just being used as a little carrot on a stick every 4 years for political reasons. Because that's where it's going to be right now.
And that's also where the bullshit falls in, is like, this isn't actually going to happen. It's the same thing as abortion, Corey. Like you said, carrot on a stick. That's all it is. Vote for me and I'll do this thing for you. I promise. Oh, we weren't able to get it done because the Republicans wouldn't let us. Or we weren't able to get it done because the Democrats wouldn't let us. Please vote for us again. If you don't, your country will go to shit. You'll become a tyrannical nation. You have to vote for us. Oh, you voted for us. Thank you. Oh, sorry. We couldn't do the thing again because the other people wouldn't let us do it. Over and over and over and over and over again. If you don't see it by now, I'm sorry. We can't help you.
So you know what I should have done? I should have started with that one and ended with North Korea poop balloons.
Why?
No, just so it had more fun.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I drag your party down a little bit?
No, it's a poop party with balloons. Like, that's, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud for the format for my segment.
Oh, for the future?
Yeah, it would have just been a lot more of a funner conversation leading into the
We're having a show meeting on the air for those who are paying attention.
This is why the people love us, Dan. It would have just been more fun if we were like laughing and going, hey, Libservative podcast.
Go fuck yourself.
Don't get bogged down by all the haters out there.
Versus you. I'm about to send you into an aneurysm because Papa Joe is forgiving some people's dumbass financial mistakes.
And then he's not. He's actually not. That's the other thing. He's not. Let's not act like that's the case. I'm gonna stop.
You know why? You know why? Because it's not a bank.
And because what's he going to run on? Not him, but what's the establishment going to run on next time?
These idiots.
Corey, tell the people where they can find us. After you clear your throat, get it out, get it all out, get it out.
Hit the mute button.
You didn't.
Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website
Go fuck yourself.
We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
And after Bell gets back from his surprise funeral.
Sorry, what, Dan?
I seriously thought my mic was muted again. Once Bell gets back from his surprise funeral, he'll be back next week. Bell the Bodysnatcher, not on the ones and twos this evening. He, as always, has been Corey Walsh.
And he's Dan Griffin.
It's been Libservative Intellectual Idiots, fostering political and cultural literacy. And until next time, we are out of here.